All right, back to talking about Doctor Who, Peter Davison, Earthshock. I was thinking more about that BBC America advertisement that they used to have on Doctor Who DVDs. It's funny. The So they say in this BBC America advertisement. Um, so watch BBC America where you can hear words pronounced correctly. And when they this is kind of silly. They have when they say pronounced correctly, they have the thing in dictionaries where they have the a word, and then they before that they have the definition for the word in the dictionary. They have it like in parentheses, and then they 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 explain in parentheses by spelling out how you should pronounce that word. So the correct pronunciation in parentheses. So when they say when in the BBC America advertisement they say where you can hear words pronounced correctly, and when they say correctly they have that thing up and like they have in parentheses in dictionaries and how the correct pronunciation of correctly. So that's kind of funny the first few times you see it, and then they say I think it was let us entertain you in the manner in which you are no longer accustomed. So yeah, that's a funny concept. It's also, it's funny where you when they say when you where you can hear words pronounced correctly. It's kind of this kind of egotistical, but kind of funny because they're just being they're just joking around. I assume they're just joking around. They're not really like super serious about it, like saying like just by the idea of saying how we are pronounced because it's the same words. A lot of times when you have English and British pronunciations, it's funny. Like even when you have like people like in America, the different regions of the country, the people will because of accents and just uh, dialects they'll pronounce certain words a little differently. And it's funny to think, like, because, like, you grow up in that certain region and you feel like, well, this is how the word should be pronounced. This is how I pronounce this word. But for each person, it's subjectiveness. They feel like this is how you say it, but that's what they grew up. This is how they grew up, and there's the people around them. That's how they said whatever specific word. But to another section of the country, they feel the same way. Like this is no, you don't say that word like that. You say the word like this. So it's funny how people in different areas will feel like they are saying words the way they are supposed to be said. They're meant to be said because that's what their environment, the people in their environment, uh, that's how they say it. So they feel like that's how you're supposed to say it. So they feel like the people over there in that other region, they're not saying it right. So it's a weird kind of like egotism, their subjective experience. It feels like it's right because it's theirs. It's what they grew up with. So it's kind of like the same thing with the British. They feel like they are saying it correctly. Well, I suppose the British English was well, they have different regions over there too, so they don't all say things all exactly the same in all of England. But they were first. So that's their that's one way of looking at it. So it's kind of a good point. So they can say it was that the British English is the correct pronunciation because they were first. They were there. They were here in the world before the Americans. Before, because we went over to American, so we branched off from the British. So they can say, well, they can say that they're correct because they said it first. We decided, we went off and we decided to pronounce words differently. So it's kind of hard to argue with that. Well, they were first, so I guess you can say that they are pronouncing it correctly. It's just it's a weird to think about, weird concept how words are pronounced differently. It's the same word, they just say it a little differently. Anyway, back to Earthshock. The Doctor and his companions, the Lieutenant and his soldiers, and Professor Kyle, they follow the signal that was controlling the bomb. So they all get in the TARDIS, and they go to a freighter in space. The Doctor and Adric leave the TARDIS to look around inside the freighter. Adric says, "Which way?" The Doctor says, I don't think it really matters." So that's kind of funny. On the bridge of the freighter, there's friction between the captain and an officer named Ringway. Ringway was concerned about missing crew members. So the captain's kind of funny. She's not the stereotypical captain of a ship, or this is a freighter. I guess a freighter is a ship. She's not the typical captain, the typical masculine what's the word? Alpha male captain of a ship. She's a woman. So she's not masculine. Not really. Well, I suppose she's not like really girly either. But she at least doesn't look like a alpha male character anyway. She's a woman and she's got her hair all made up, and but it's funny. The captain is funny because she keeps. I thought it was funny anyway. Maybe it wasn't meant to be funny. But the captain, she keeps calling Ringway Mister. I just thought it was funny how she kept calling him Mister. She didn't say his name. She just said Mister. Kind of seems like a demeaning. Though at least the tone, the way she was saying it, like speaking to him as if he was a child. I think when I first saw it, Earthshock, it was I got the impression that this was his mother, but I don't think that's what. Pretty sure that's not what's going on there. This is not, the captain is not Ringway's mother, but they do this British thing in Earthshock. I think they did. I think that's why I thought that they so the word ma'am, it looks like ma'am, but sometimes, so it's like a a respectful term for a female superior. Like when you say ma'am to this person, this female person, but when the British pronounce ma'am, they say mom. It sounds like they're saying mom, like mother. So that's what I was thinking. That what? The captain is Ringway's mother? But it's just a British thing. It's just how they're pronouncing the word ma'am. They don't say ma'am. They say mom. It's weird. So the captain was calling him Mister. So that's what I was thinking when I first watched it. She's talking to him as if she was a child when she says Mister. The tone of when she says Mister to Ringway. So that's why it was kind of reinforcing my perception of the captain as his mother, because she's speaking to him as if he was a child. Anyway, Mister. Oh, she's on here. Okay, so this is what the captain looks like. Who keeps calling him? She keeps calling Ringway Mister. So you can see she doesn't look like the typical, at least from older movies and shows. She doesn't look like the typical captain. Well, this is set in the future, so I guess that's fine. And even nowadays, women are more involved in different professions. But in the past, because of a patriarchal society, many professions were male dominated in the past. Um, so she doesn't look like the typical captain of a ship uh, when you consider typical captains of ships in the past. So here's the captain of the freighter in Earthshock. I think her name's Beryl Reed. And I think might have been Peter Davison that made a comment that the actor, she wasn't really knowing what she was saying. She was just, I think he might have heard her say, "What, I don't know what I'm saying here. What is this?" Not really understanding uh, what was going on with like the technical side, I suppose, of the plot. So kind of a funny character. Someone had said she was miscast, which seems kind of mean, judgmental. That might be someone's initial impression, but you have to, as an audience member, it helps to just go with it, just buy into it. She's the captain. You don't have to be like, well, she shouldn't have been cast as this. They should have got a different actor. Just go with it. Just watch it and be entertained. It wasn't too big of a deal having her cast as the captain. It was different.